It's the extreme alternative cycling magazine. Calling in sick. It's the extreme alternative cycling magazine. It's called Calling in Sick. It's the extreme alternative cycling magazine. Calling in sick. It's the extreme alternative.
Wouldn't even worry about it.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry about it. You're gonna sound just fine. Oh my god, dude. I was on the
your funny
phone
bone?
with my not even my funny bone. I was on the phone with my therapist, and I was in bed, and I got up out of bed, and I tripped on the sheet, and just like literally fell like 2 or 3 feet straight onto the ground, like hardwood floor,
Oh, jeez.
and like chipped my elbow.
Oh, really?
Bone, I want to say, because now every time I put pressure directly on my elbow, it feels like there's like a broken bone, like a deep, insane pain.
Did you go get an x-ray?
No, I haven't done anything for it
okay.
yet. But I just rubbed it on the microphone wire, and I got that pain.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Ow.
We're recording.
Oh, we're recording. Okay, great.
So everyone got to hear that story. Yeah, this is actually episode 10 of the Calling in Sick magazine podcast. Are you ready to
Monumental.
record?
I'm
You ready to
ready.
go? Okay. Yeah, monumental. I never thought that I'd be a podcast guy, but here we are. Today's guest is Adam Sklar of Sklar Bicycles. He probably doesn't really need an introduction to most listeners. He's a custom frame builder turned bike company. Meaning, like, he used to do one of one frames, custom geometry, custom paint for like one person, with that kind of like custom frame builder model. And now he is a bike company, so he designs runs of bicycles and has them made elsewhere. He's not like cutting, mitering, and welding the tubes together. So more of a bike company now, but with deep frame building knowledge and just, I guess, lots of knowledge in general. Yeah, and then we met, like, I visited your studio in like 2016 in Bozeman, Montana. And yeah, we were at a cross race in Golden Gate Park, and you were there. I was like, whoa, there's Adam Sklar. And then you looked at me and you're like, hi, Adam. And I was like, whoa, you remember me. Like,
How could I forget?
yeah. So yeah, a little bit of personal history there too. But yeah, how's it going, Adam?
Hi, Adam. Thanks for having me on the pod.
Of course.
Yeah, it's going good. We're here at my studio / shop, and it's like my first day really coming into work after getting all moved in here.
Yeah,
So
cool.
that's been exciting.
Sweet.
It's a nice place to hang out all day.
How is the shop so far? I guess you've only been here today.
I mean, kind of settling in for the last 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like today is it was the first Monday where I came in and stuff was set up enough to work, and I didn't like start the day shuffling stuff around.
Nice.
So that was cool. Felt good.
Sick.
I shipped a bunch of stuff out
Cool.
and getting back to some emails. I'm pretty behind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, moving's a lot.
Yeah, and you, like me, like run a brand and just do everything for the brand.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one person show.
So fulfilling orders, answering emails, designing new products, prototyping, reviewing samples, shipping out once they're here, everything. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I have a little bit of help. My friend Stevie assembles complete bikes. And sometimes, well, I have friends I can reach out to. That's actually a cool part about being here because Outer Shell is next door.
Yeah.
It's really fun to have Jim and Kyle there.
Yeah.
We're scheming all the time already. It's been really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good vibe here. I poked my head in over there and said hi to Alex. I actually didn't realize he worked there for some reason. But yeah, it's a cool vibe here. Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, it's just me at Sklar, except, well, I shouldn't talk about it yet, but there'll be 2 soon.
Oh.
But it's too soon to talk about.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Is that your first like official employee, basically?
There's been people throughout the years. When I was doing frame building, I had some helpers sometimes.
Yeah.
And then my friend Jordan worked for me when I was in Montana for about a year, and then the first half a year here. But then I was doing half and half for a bit. And then when I moved the whole thing to California, he stayed in Montana. And so it's been,
Word.
that was good. It was kind of a transitional point when Jordan was there for the tail end of the frame building era.
Mm-hmm.
And since I moved here, it's really been full on bike company era.
Right.
And so it's been good to kind of bring things back close.
Yeah.
And get a better idea of what it looks like. Cause I didn't really know. I think it was hard to manage someone else when I didn't really know what was happening exactly.
Right.
And I still don't, but I know a little bit more.
Yeah. Can you talk about that a little bit? Like why go from, I just know people are curious, but I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but like why go from like a custom frame builder model, kind of like more of like a, bespoke, like you just get the one bike you want and you're the only person with that bike, from that until more of like a streamlined run of bike model, if you will.
Yeah, just that small question. But, I guess the biggest thing is that custom frames never totally resonated with me. I got super into like the fabrication part, which is why I started making bikes at all.
Mm-hmm.
Was that I like nerding out on like welding stuff and learning about that. And then once I was doing it proficiently enough to sell them, I looked around and everyone else doing it was making custom frames. So I was like, okay, I guess this is what we do if you make bikes, you make custom frames.
Right.
And then I went down that road and like 6 years later, probably 5 or 6 years later, had like a 2-year waiting list. And I found that to be really overwhelming and stressful. And I was making bikes that my friends could never afford and I could never afford. And it was hard again and again. Friends would be like, oh, I'm saving up to get a bike from you. And every time I'd be like, I wouldn't recommend it. It's like, they're too expensive I think your money could be spent better. And that was kind of the wake up where I was like, I wouldn't buy one of these. Why am I making these?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just like, why would they be so expensive?
Because in order for a business to stay afloat, it needs to make money to pay the people who operate it, which was me. And it turns out, actually, this is the point I was going to bring up. This is kind of frame building. You'll see so many people have come and gone over the years, and it's because it's really hard to make. Well, it's not hard to make a living. You just have to charge enough money. And basically, if you're paying less than $3,000, like $3,400, I think a no custom frame should cost less than $3,400. If you're paying less than $3,000 for a custom frame, you're condemning your frame builder to a life of poverty, or they don't need to make money, which is okay.
And so is that just based on like a sort of calculation of like you make this number of frames and your overhead is this, and you
pretty much like one person can make the year I made the most frames. I made like 45.
Wow.
Which was the year that I really burnt out on it. I was working a lot, and it was really fun in a lot of ways, but I got to the end of it and I was like, whoa, I'm super tired.
Yeah.
But that's about the max. I think most builders, and I'm buddies with all the frame builder people. It's a really sweet community of like really wonderful nerds.
Yeah.
And they're all great. Yeah, typically like 30 is about how many a person can do on their own.
That's like, so you were at you said 45, so that's like almost one a week.
Yeah.
And that's not just, building it. That's like reviewing the person's input, making a drawing, going back and forth with them. Like
yeah,
all
that's the majority
stuff.
of the time. So that was in the like way booked out period. And I had a helper then who was helping me cut some tubes. Yeah, but that was a lot of work. And yeah, the whole part of the long part of the process is the design. Let me think back to these days. Oh, I try not to think about them too much.
We'll get past this quickly.
Yeah. I mean, I think we usually spend like 6 weeks to 2 months in the design phase. So going from like fit info, what do you want? Like what tires do you want to run? What drivetrain do you want to run? And where are you going to ride? And then once we get geometry and all that stuff done, go into parts and paint and finish and colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so then it goes into the build queue, and then you build it. Then it has to go to paint. That takes a while. So yeah, it was a long process.
Wow.
It was cool. I made some really cool. I mean, the bikes I made were so cool. There's some really, really cool ones.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was just trying to do the mental math of like, you 45 frames, let's say they're 3,400. Like, what does that come out to? That's your gross, and then you like, remove a ton of that as your expenses and your overhead, and it's like not even that much.
No, I mean, that's to pay yourself like 80 grand a year probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's easy math to do. I don't know. I've been trying to. There's some frame building forum that I posted on my spreadsheet. I feel like people were so. In some ways, when I think back to when I was starting, and so many people were like, you can't do this for a job, really, right? And I think I blocked that out for a while.
Yeah.
But they were trying to steer me in the right way. But I definitely only heard what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But now that I'm old and jaded, I can try to help young people and do the same thing. Like,
yeah.
But I mean, you can. You just have to work really hard. Or it's easier to build frames too now. There's so much info. When I started, you couldn't just buy tools really.
Mm-hmm.
You had to make them. So there's a lot more support now.
Yeah.
But it's a tough go, just like making anything really.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because it doesn't seem very scalable at all, especially like a lot of people, they're buying on the name because you could probably have a lot of builders build you, something with X geometry and X paint, but it's like, you're like, no, I want an Adam Sklar. I want a Richard Sachs. I want, whatever it is. And so you can't just be like, all right, now other people make my shit. Like,
right.
Unless a certain amount.
I kind of am now.
No, I know, but I mean, it's like you are, but like you don't have. It's not the same. I don't know how to put this. Like your kind of like brand image changes when you do that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I got out before I turned into a Richard Sachs or someone like that.
Right.
Which is good because I think in hindsight the best part about it was that I was getting the customers who were just like, I want this bike that I can't find, and you're a cool new custom builder. I'll go to you.
Right.
Which it's what I'm excited about my production bikes is that most people who work at a bike company don't really talk to that many real customers, and they haven't designed that many bikes. So I got to design hundreds of bikes for people who couldn't find what they were looking for.
Right.
And I think like with the gravel, when my stock gravel bike came out, the super something, people were like, oh, the geometry is like not that notable. But that's what everyone kept asking. Like I built a couple hundred gravel bikes, and people were like, I don't want some freaky mountain bike geometry. I just want a comfy bike that fits big tires. And that's what I made. And that was like the weird subversive geometry in the bike industry, was just making something kind of normal.
That's interesting. I mean, that kind of makes sense because it kind of seems like sometimes people get obsessed with like these ideas that are kind of out there, and then all of a sudden there's no normal anymore. It's
right.
Everything is like low trail, or everything is like super skinny tubes or something. Just to name a few examples of that. But I was looking at your Geo recently, and I thought, oh, it's a bit more like, I was looking at the super something titanium frame because I want one of those. And it's more upright than a lot of the other gravel bikes I was looking at, and that actually was a plus for me.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge geometry nerd. I kind of like know what I want or know what I need, but I can't just look at your Geo and be like, oh my god, that stack to reach ratio is like super common or something. But yeah, I think one of the things that's unique about you is that, yeah, it's like you have all this experience listening to people's like questions and what they want on the custom side of things, and you can use that to inform your stock runs. And also you're able to like do all the stuff. Like, didn't you say you were in Taiwan like explaining how to do some of the tube shaping to the people that build the frames there?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, it's huge having built the frames.
Yeah. Not a lot of bike companies people that work at bike companies can't say that a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's nice because when you go to a factory like Maxway, they have lots of ways they do stuff, which is great. It works really well. And when you actually saw it, I was looking at the internet on a new frame this morning, and I was like, that looks real Maxway-y, which it's not bad, but it's just, if you want to do something unique, you have to tell them exactly how to do it.
What do you mean it looks max weight? Like it looks like like an off the shelf thing that they would offer?
I was looking at like a chainstay yoke and some chainstay bends that are like a totally great way to do it. It's like I'm not shitting on it at all.
No,
it's great. But I'm really psyched on the stuff I've been doing lately, like with the PBJ chainstay situation, just because it's more how a domestic builder would do it.
Right. I'm looking at it now, and it's you've got a 3D printed yoke.
That yoke's Cass.
Oh,
A Cass 4130 yoke, but they're round tubes, which is how I was doing it when I was building them.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like that better because it's more, when I'm designing the frame, since I've built a ton of frames with round tubes, it's just more predictable to know how the round will flex is mainly it. And I think it looks cool.
What do you mean round tube? Like instead of like an ovalized chainstay? Is that what you mean?
Because a lot of the steel bike infrastructure is from, right now it's like 10 or 15 years behind. So it's kind of from that era when everyone was still chasing stiffness everywhere. So they're inclined, like no one on the podcast will see, but the older version super something yoke is really, chainstay is an oval.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's more the solution they want to go for, which is, it's a good way to maintain stiffness and fit a big tire and stuff through there. But since I'm using a yoke,
then you get to go back to the round tube.
You can go back to round tubes.
I see. Okay. So just to clarify, like the round, so it's like a cross section of the tube is round versus it being kind of like pinched or ovalized.
Oh yeah, that's a good thing to explain. That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it does give it more of like a unique or like kind of bespoke look now that I'm looking at it. Like it looks more like something that would be done domestically.
Yeah. It's funny to name it like that, but I think if you look at all, I got into bikes. Well, I didn't really know about frame building before I started doing it, but when I started looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, like you look at a lot of the California builders and stuff, because you just buy aircraft tubing and you make chainstays out of it.
Uh-huh.
And this is cool because it looks like that, but they're tapered and double butted.
Right.
So it's way sicker than the aircraft tubing you'd use, but it's kind of a nod to that aesthetic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Word. Do you want to talk more about the PBJ since it's your new bike that is the pre-order is live now?
Yeah, sure. We can talk about that. PBJ stands for Performance Basket Jammer, which is another dumb name because names are hard and I think it's fun. But it's a bike that I built myself first in like 2019, I think, as a touring bike. I'd built myself a new touring bike every summer for like 3 summers, and I kept not being happy with the ones that I made. So it's funny because I came about it as like, I was going to do this big long gravel tour, and I was like, I want 2 6s, 2.6 inch tires. I want upright, kind of sweepy bar.
Yeah.
And it ended up being kind of a mountain bike geometry,
right?
Which I like backed into because it's got a bit of a lower bottom bracket and it's got a bit of a longer reach still, because I was thinking of somewhere in between like mountain bike and my gravel bike riding position.
Right. I remember because I did that YouTube video, that shop visit, and you were saying that it's like you arrived basically at a cross-country mountain bike geometry via a touring need, which I thought was interesting. Just like basically a comfortable, capable, but not like out there mountain bike geometry, right? Like, because I think of like some kind of more prog geos having stuff that's not as practical, like it like having like a super slacked out head tube angle, high bottom bracket is like gonna get you through a rock garden, but not necessarily be comfortable when you're like riding washboard 60-mile day kind of thing.
Yeah, and so it's but it's a little I went big on prog geo I don't know. I don't know what year it is anymore or when stuff happens. So it's gonna be like I don't know. There was maybe some of the deep nerds will be familiar with Peter Verdone.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm very familiar.
I mean he's taken a little too far for me personally at this point. But his ideas are not wrong.
Right.
They're just extreme. But
Yeah.
I really experimented with that stuff. I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. And a lot of my bikes, I think, take elements of it.
Yeah.
And it's like if you turned up the knob from 0 to all the way to Peter Verdone, I'm like a 4 maybe. I don't know.
Really? That's it?
Maybe more. Well, I guess I'm more than, like, my gravel bikes have an element of that too. Like having higher trail, shorter stem kind of thing is how I like all my bikes really. Because I think it rides better and you get less toe overlap and you get a longer wheelbase, which is more stable, but the shorter stem makes it ride nice still.
Right. Yeah, I was just trying to understand it, and I was listening to one of his presentations at Philly Bike Expo, and it's like the reason. I mean, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's like the reason why the slack head tube angle thing is actually good is because it gives you a longer front center, and you have a longer wheelbase from that. But if you go too crazy with the slack head tube angle, then you get some weird effects. So what he does is he actually just increases the frame reach and keeps the head tube angle at a more reasonable, like 65 or 66 degrees. Basically, a different way of getting to the long front center thing. But then when you do that, because you've increased the frame reach, you got to have a super short stem. But he also argues that stem length doesn't matter as much as people think it does. Like, oh, like a long stem rides differently from a short stem. He's like, no, that's BS. It's like the way a bike rides is due to like how your body weight, your center of gravity is positioned between the wheels' contact points, and how like your balance is between the two wheels is a huge part of it.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think that's right, and I think that the stuff I've taken away from it is that front center is the most important number for how a bike handles. Yeah. Which is kind of his thing too. Yeah. And similar, like head tube angle is not as important as people make it out to be. Right. Or he's all about result. It's a resultant. Like you design the front center and the trail, and then head tube angle, reach, all that stuff is just ends up being what it is in order to get your hands in the right place. Yeah. Whereas I think a lot of people think about it like, oh, I want to get one of those mountain bikes with the short stem. And it's like, no, you're thinking about it backwards. The short stem is the result of the way the frame was designed, which is based on things like front center. Or even like, oh, I need a 65-degree head tube angle. It's like, well, what you want is you want an 810 front center. You want a really long, you want your wheel to be way out there. Yeah. But the head tube angle is one tool to get you there. Yeah. I mean, that's the hard part is what I'm finding too. When I design custom bikes, I got to walk everyone through the geometry. There was always like, here's what I drew for you, and this is why. And now I'm having to explain all that. And it's so hard because you take one. Everything works together. You change one thing and the whole thing changes. You can't isolate one number, even though everyone tries to all the time. Right. Yeah. Yeah, they all affect each other. Turns out. You were saying people were responding to your PBJ geo chart, saying that the reach was long for a given size. I think some people are, but yeah, that's again. So it's a longer front center. Right. It's got that touch of long front center geometry in it, and then it's also designed around a sweepy bar. So it's designed to have your hands in line with the steering axis with the steer tube. Right. So it looks a little long, but not crazy long. I think also people are just I don't know where people are looking at geo numbers, but maybe I'm just getting used to people always having questions about geometry. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think everyone has like kind of, if you're a bike nerd, you have like a personal journey with understanding geometry. Like I know I do, and I still don't really understand it. But like reading people like Peter Verdone is pretty eye-opening. And then just, kind of looking at the trends and like, oh yeah, over the past 10 years, mountain bike stems have gotten shorter. Does that mean that you can throw a 35 millimeter stem on a 2012 mountain bike? Like probably maybe you could, but I don't think like it's apples to apples. Yeah. Yeah. But the PBJ is great. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
sorry
fun.
to go so
Oh, no.
go so nerdy.
No, it's good. I mean, it's middle. It's been sweet in the Bay too. We rode I rode this weekend in Briones,
Yeah.
which is a lot of super punchy. Have you ridden out there?
Maybe like once or twice. It's always like I'm always being taken around by people out there, and I
Okay.
don't know where I am exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. It's kind of a maze of super mega steep, punchy,
Mm-hmm.
cowed out climbs in a
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, that bike was so fun because you have mountain bike gearing,
Yeah.
and then some of the descents were pretty chunky, but I had 2.6s on there.
Yeah. It's
But
perfect.
it's rigid, so still like didn't feel that much less efficient than a gravel bike.
Right.
And when you go down the steep stuff, it's just it makes it fun instead of holding on for dear life.
Right. Right. Yeah. I've been riding PBJ. I bought your sample frame,
Mhm.
production sample. So it's basically the same thing as what's going to be here in a few months, but just an early version of it. And not early version meaning
It's the factory sample.
It's the factory
just
sample.
to double check
it's the same. It's the
everything's-
same thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's like super comfortable. It feels like a much improved version of like you call it the Sklarati monkey.
Yeah.
It's just like a way better version of a karate monkey. Basically, like it's got. I think it's lighter and snappier and like faster feeling. The paint color is better.
Have you noticed? I was noticing a lot this weekend that the rear end is super flexy for me. Do you notice flexing?
No.
Okay. Okay, never mind. It's not.
Like flexy, like compliant, or flexy, like noodly.
Oh, like compliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I can feel it. Sticking to hugging the ground more.
Oh, the
providing
other
traction.
thing. Yeah, no. The other thing is that I've got that Cane Creek soft post, whatever the EE silk.
Everything's soft.
So it kind of feels like I have a flat tire sometimes because the seat post has that built-in suspension. I'm actually just going to throw a dropper on pretty soon here, and I think that'll spice things up a bit too.
Oh yeah, it's pretty fun. Rigid bike with a dropper.
Yeah, I've never had it. I'm kind of new to droppers, to be honest.
Oh really?
Yeah,
But now you've been mountain bike pilled.
I've been mountain bike pilled. Yeah, fully mountain bike pilled. It's kind of insane. But yeah, this bike, it's super fun. I don't know what else to say. Like I think what's cool about it is like I definitely wouldn't ride like my carbon or type mountain bikes like to the shop or to just like around town. And this has more of a vibe of like it's like can be chilled out in that way where it's got like flat pedals. It doesn't have suspension, so you can pedal around it on town. Super fun to like bunny hop a curb and do a little jib here and there, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you basically have a mountain bike, but it's something that's very practical and has all the mounts for racks and baskets and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, super versatile, super fun. If you're like wanting to get into a mountain bike, but you're afraid, like, oh, I don't speak enduro, bro, or something like that, like, then this would be a good one for you.
Nice. Great review. Yeah, I think it's fun. This is my favorite bike.
Yeah.
And I think the production ones turned out super nice. So I'm psyched to share it with the world.
Hell yeah. Yeah. And that's your big new thing. Yeah.
That's the big new Taiwan model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I have the titanium super somethings coming. They're either shipping Friday or today from Santa Barbara where they're made.
Cool. So those are the two. Did you say they're fabricated in Santa Barbara, but the tubing is from?
The tubing's from China,
Uh-huh.
which is where pretty much all
tubing
titanium comes.
Yeah.
Either China or Russia.
Mm-hmm.
We could have a political conversation, but I don't know if we
No,
we don't need to talk.
definitely
Let's talk about something else quick.
Yeah. There was like there was a meme recently that was like, or maybe it was just like a comment on Instagram where it was like, yeah, guy who's busy like scrutinizing where someone's bike frame came from is enjoying their frame with like a Malaysian group set and Chinese wheels and blah, blah, blah. It's like they're just fixated on where the frame comes from, but everything else comes from not the USA.
Yeah. But they're made in Santa Barbara by, I'll say it here. I haven't said it, but they're made by Stinner Frameworks, which is cool. Aaron and I have been buddies for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's fun working with him. and his. I mean, he's got there's a lot of
Yeah.
people there now,
Yeah.
so that's been fun.
When I was in college, I went to UC Santa Barbara, and Aaron was just starting when I was there. So like my roommate had like Stinner number 9 or 10. It was a Philip Braze cross bike.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
pretty sure he still has it. But yeah, he was doing the like custom one-off geometry model.
Yeah, he
And-
still is.
Yeah, he still is, but it's a little bit more like he's got a full operation.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, he's tried so many. It's something I respect about him is he's tried everything. Like when you go to Made or something, everyone's all talking shop and thinking about trying new stuff. And Aaron has actually tried every configuration of the frame making
right.
thing that you can.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
cool.
he's super smart.
Yeah.
And has the experience to back up all his opinions on stuff,
Right.
which is cool.
Yeah.
I've seen lots of challenges.
Yeah, for sure. Seems like he's doing well.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
great. I'm excited to be. I think it's gonna be a big part of my business moving forward is working with them.
Yeah,
So,
cool.
I'm
That's
excited.
good to hear.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about that?
About that?
Yeah, like what do you mean by that?
Oh, I want to do more tie frames with
Yeah.
them. Yeah, the quality is insane.
Yeah, I was
And-
just looking at it. I was looking at your Super Something titanium, and it's like just the welds are incredible. The finish is beautiful.
Mhm.
It's just really nice, and it's unique looking too.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm just like they're nice bikes. That's
Yeah.
cool. It's cool. It's cool to make bikes that nice.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And heck, the Taiwan bikes are that nice too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, they're all really nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Bikes are cool. It's fun.
It is fun. Yeah, I was so burned out on moving. I was thinking about quitting a few weeks ago, but then I went on a bike ride, and then
Yeah.
I thought, never mind.
Yeah.
I'll
Good.
keep doing this.
Good. Yeah, you can do it. What else would you do?
So it's so many things. There's so many things to do out there.
I think about what else I would do, and I'm like, I have no idea. I don't have any clue what I would do.
No. Not back to lighting design.
Lighting design, I'm glad I did it, but I don't think I could go back to doing that. It was too, I don't know. I was thinking about it recently, and I was like, there's something really special about this, and it's cool, but like for me, it was a bit like nails on a chalkboard, where it's like, just did not make sense for my personality and whatever like ADHD like problems I might have. Like the lighting design like brought all that out. Like it just because it's like you've got so many different wheels spinning at a given time. It's like you've got for a given project, you've got like different stages of the project. You've got different documents to fill out. You've got to do design thinking. You've got to do technical thinking. You've got to produce documents. You've got to produce technical documents. You got to produce beautiful design documents. It's like there's so much that went into it for any given project. And then on top of that, it's like, oh, you don't just have one project to manage. You have 7.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It was,
That sounds like my job.
yeah. But don't you find that like, because it's your baby and you like get to make all the decisions, that it's a lot easier?
I think so. Yeah, they're all very intuitive because
Yeah. Because you don't have to consult anyone or check in with your boss or anything like that. That was another part of lighting that was difficult for me. It was like just the layers of like,
the bureaucracy.
like review and confirm, and then if not, you go back to the drawing board, and it's like there's so much to do. I don't have time for all this kind of feeling. But we don't have to talk about that anymore.
Okay. Sounds good.
Word. How is the new shop? Has it been good?
Yeah, the new shop rules.
Yeah, cool. You were in Oakland before. That's when we did the like the shop visit for YouTube. But yeah, you live in San Francisco, so it makes sense to have a shop in San Francisco.
Yeah, I moved to San Francisco like 8 months ago and was commuting on BART, which is not bad, but way more fun to just ride my bike
For sure.
all the way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, the shop is itself pretty cool. Great light.
Yeah. Hell
Hardly
yeah.
even turn the lights on.
Yeah, nice skylights.
Skylights. Windows. The last shop didn't have. It had good skylights, but didn't have windows. And then, yeah, lots of friends. Outer Shells next door.
Yep.
Who I've known them for a long. I mean, it's part of why I moved to the Bay is that I knew all these people through the bike world.
Right.
So like Kyle, I met forever ago through my friend Nick.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris McNally is 2 doors down, who
Yeah.
was one of my connectors to so many people here. Yeah, and then Jess Chan Tunitas
Yep.
is also in here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. This place is called The Farm.
Right.
It's like just happens to have all these like legendary bike people in it. It's pretty sick. Are we announcing that party thing yet?
Oh, sure. It's Sunday, April. Oh, we changed the date.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
April
13th?
April 6th. Sunday, April 6th.
Okay, good. So it's basically like a showcase of Sklar and Outer Shell and
Tunitas.
and Chris McNally.
Yeah, Chris McNally, drawing
Drawing
LLC.
Co. Yeah.
And Tunitas.
Uh-huh.
And Calling in Sick will be there too, I heard.
Yeah. I'm gonna get, yeah, I'll have the new issue or I should have the new issue by
that'd be
then.
awesome.
God, if it's not here by then, I don't know what, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have the new issue and some hoodies and shirts and stickers and stuff like that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'm excited also to have a space over here. I like community. Community
sure.
is fun. And
your last shop had a good community too, because it was like Pass and Stowe was there.
Yeah, that
And,
was it. And Eric Billings.
Eric Billings. Yeah.
I want to miss them.
Yeah.
But also just to engage with like general bike nerds of San Francisco, I'm excited about.
Right.
And I want to, so we'll do the open house, and then we're going to ride up somewhere up a hill
Twin
to
Peaks.
watch the sunset.
Well, my idea was an out and back to the airport.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. Wait,
It's like
why?
the most industrial, ugly, dangerous riding with no payoff.
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds
Yeah.
sick.
Sounds awesome. We used to do that. There was I think it was like Calling in Sick issue 6. It was just like ugly ride was the thing, because
That's so
we
dumb.
got sick of doing like Marin, because it's like, yeah, we'll do railroad grade for the 50th fucking time.
Yeah.
And which is beautiful. It's like feels weird to even complain about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, we were like, let's go south. Let's go to the airport.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots of beautiful riding to the south.
That's true.
Yeah.
We chose the ugly riding to the south.
Nice. It's probably flatter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do more group rides. I don't know. In Montana, I was neighbors with a shop that you saw, Alter Cycles.
Uh-huh.
And we did, all summer, we did a shop ride every Tuesday.
Wow.
And we did a open house thing every Friday.
Yeah.
Which was too much for me. That ended up being very exhausting.
Oh, open house every Friday.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was like low key. And we were there anyway, usually, but sometimes I didn't really want to be at work. People come over to your work and it's a cool, exciting thing for them, which is cool, but you're like,
I'm
I've
trying
been
to work.
here all week and I'm still at work and it's 9:00.
Yeah.
So I want to keep them more special and have them a little more irregular. I think like every 6-ish weeks, try to do a ride.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you can always just, I don't know, do it at however much you want. Like I thought about doing something where it's like, oh, we're going to do like Alpine Dam starting at 6 p.m. So they probably get home at like midnight.
Fun.
Or just do like another mountain bike ride, like Sutro, Twin Peaks, and then blast out through the park to the beach to catch the sunset when it gets a little bit lighter later. But yeah, more of those rides would be sick. But yeah, April 6th is the day.
April
Sorry,
6th.
I keep digressing.
Yeah. Oh, no worries. Yeah, and hopefully, I don't know, we're all going to, everyone's going to Sea Otter, right?
No, not me.
Yeah, I'm going to pop in for a day, but.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you bringing anything or just going as a guest?
Go look around. I'm a fan of bicycles as well.
Oh.
So it's fun to see what's going on.
Yeah. I was at Sea Otter with Richie one of the years.
Right.
It was cool.
Nice.
It was definitely more like a lot more of the big brands were there. Yeah. Versus like obviously NABS and PBE is like very custom focused. Yeah. Yes. I wanted to ask you about Montana too.
Oh yeah.
Like, are you from Montana?
I grew up in Colorado. Where did I grow up? But I went there for college. So I moved there when I was 18, and then I stayed for 12 years.
Wow.
8 years after school.
Yeah.
So I was there for 12 years.
Yeah.
So not from there, but that's what everyone asks you in Montana. They're like, where are you from?
Oh, because no one's from there.
No one's from there.
I mean, It's a beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I visited, that was the only time I've been there, but it was like the level of beauty was like that of Hawaii. I mean, different style of beauty, but like that degree of just beautiful outdoor, like you can't even believe your eyes kind of pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy beautiful. And I remember one night, it was my last summer there, and I was driving up to my friend's house who lived like up in the canyon, and like at sunset, and just being overcome by like, dang, I've lived here for so long and it's still like mind-blowingly beautiful.
Yeah.
When the sun goes down and it's all golden and nice. Yeah, it's a special place for sure.
Yeah.
So beautiful, and there's so much good access to be alone in nature if that's what you're into.
Yeah. It's lush too. It's very green.
For a little, yeah,
For
a lot
a
of the
part
summer.
of the year.
Well, yeah, mostly white for most of the year.
Yeah.
And snowy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean that was part of the hard part. I mean, I moved there to go skiing. I was a big skier,
Uh-huh.
and then it's usually snow on the ground Halloween, usually through April.
Wow.
Snow on the ground, so it's a lot of the year.
And you made a lot of fat bikes back then, didn't you?
I had a fat bike moment,
Uh-huh.
and then I got one, and I found it to be not very fun to ride. So that's why I stopped offering them. Also, I think I can say this now finally. I found fat bike customers to be difficult to work with. So I didn't believe in it, which was maybe that was like the first time. That was the first step towards what I'm doing now, maybe, where I was like, I don't have to build everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you said that earlier about like customers coming to you and requesting like just anything, because I've thought that you've always had like a style, like you could look at your frame and say like, oh, that's a Sklar.
Yeah.
Versus like there's some builders where it's like they literally will build anything, and you can't tell what it is until you look at the logo.
Yeah. Bless their hearts.
No, it's not a bad thing. I'm just saying like
Totally. No, I'm not saying so either. I'm impressed with those people, but I think I was thinking about this recently. I was sort of one of the first frame builders to kind of approach it as a brand. I mean, there's been maybe not the first, but it's definitely when I got into it, it was all just Richard Sachs or
right.
Hunter on the down tube or whoever. But no one had really been. I mean, I guess some of the lug guys who made their own lugs were pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really intentional to make my bikes recognizable without paint.
Interesting. Yeah. And that, like, a lot of that is the tube shaping.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I did it. I was like, I wanted, if you're going to take the time to make it, like, what differentiates my bikes from other bikes? Right. I could just make another diamond frame. Yeah. Which now I am with the PPJ, but it has. If you look closely, it's got the details on there.
The top tube is really nice. It's like formed. It's what would you call it? Ovalized.
I would call that ovalized. Yeah.
Ovalized. Yeah.
So or smushed. Kind of like
flattened. Smushed.
Yeah, flattened.
Yeah, it's nice.
Thanks.
I like to sometimes just grab it. Just grab the top tube. Mm-hmm. Feels good.
Yeah. Wait, what were we talking about? I got so far off track.
That's the whole point of this, is to get off track.
Nice.
But what were we? We were talking about having a brand that's like visually identifiable without reading the down tube.
Oh yeah, brand. Yeah, I was doing that. Why were we talking about that? Oh, because we were talking about fat bikes. That's right.
That's right.
Fat bikes. Yeah, fat bikes. So I commuted on one for a couple years, which was good. But in Bozeman, it was just more fun to go skiing. And I found on actual snow, when the conditions are really fun to go fat biking, you can ride like a 2.2 inch tire on the snow.
Yeah.
So there's really, and I think if you live somewhere like Alaska, people are all about it there.
Do you remember that? Like it was like maybe a photo or a video of someone like riding a fat bike over a dead whale body.
I don't think I saw that.
It was like, I think it was in Alaska. It was like on a beach where a whale had washed up, and someone. It might have been an ad for like Moots or something.
They did it as an ad? That's a little...
I'm
probably very thoughtful to ride over.
Totally misremembering it. But I remember there was like a photo of someone was riding over a dead whale.
Wow.
On a fat bike.
That's not very nice.
No, you're right. It's kind of disrespectful.
See, fat bikers.
Yeah. I haven't seen a fat bike, in years. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think it's kind of dying. I mean, I shouldn't say that. There's probably fat bikers who are, I'm upsetting fat bikers now, but they're just like, so I found in the snow, going uphill, you get like really sweaty and you go so slow downhill. You go just fast enough to like freeze, but not fast enough for it to be the thrill of a mountain.
Interesting.
And when you live somewhere where you can just go skiing's like the most fun thing you can do pretty much.
Right.
So it's hard to compare.
You do downhill skiing or?
Yeah, I mostly like backcountry skiing.
Oh yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, which is fun. I might try to go here. I haven't been since I moved to California.
I grew up skiing in California.
Crazy.
I'm from a ski family.
Really? I didn't know that.
Well, my dad's from a ski family, but my dad brought that culture to me. But we would go mainly to Mammoth.
Okay.
Because Mammoth, like, you could go to Mount Baldy was the super close one to LA. So you could go to Mount Baldy. It was only like an hour and a half away. But it was kind of like a twisty drive. And like, you throw up. And then there was like Mountain High, which was really more of like a snowboard park vibe. And then there was like Big Bear Lake Arrowhead, which were 2.5 hours away and then just not very big or great mountains. And so driving 5 hours to get to Mammoth was like worth it for the weekend because it was so much better. Yeah. And then like, I think Tahoe is just a little too far. That was like 8-hour drive. So it was a little too far.
Pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so far. It's part of, I think, why I got so into bikes because I was like, oh, you can just do this from your house.
Same. Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about you can do it. You can put on fancy clothes if you want, but you don't even have to.
Right. Yeah. It's like, you spend, like, obviously bikes cost a lot of money if you spend a lot of money on them. But you can just plop out of your front door and go ride. Whereas with skiing, it's like you get all the gear and then you also need like the right vehicle to get you to the ski slopes. And then you need to buy the freaking, how much are the ski lift tickets now? Like hundreds of
$200 or something
for
a
like
day. Crazy.
Yeah. And then you do that and then you get one good day. Or I guess the people who really do it get the like season passes, but that's another like 1 to 2K of money to spend. And then you're sort of like locked into going skiing more. Yeah. But it's wicked expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, bikes are better.
Bikes are, but not fat bikes.
Right. Yeah, I mean I like the plus tires.
Yeah, I did a lot of those. I mean, I was like the first. I feel like that was the first thing that I did that people were asking for. That it was kind of the first time where I was like, oh yeah, frame builders do stuff before the big companies.
Interesting.
A lot of plus bikes, but then we found out also first that the tires are heavy and flat, super easy.
Plus tires.
Yeah, that's why everything's like 2.6 these days. 2.6 is like it's the right balance.
Why does a 3-inch tire flat eat more easily?
Because if you make them durable in the way that they should be, they're so heavy. So to cut down on weight a little bit, they were all just really thin.
So the 2.6 is the happy medium.
I feel like the 2.6, it's you still get the volume that you want,
right?
But they're durable enough,
right?
And they're not too heavy to be not fun to ride.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Ultra Dynamico sent me, they like saw the first picture I posted of my PVJ. They were like, hey Adam, your tires don't look very dynamic. Do you want some Mars 2.0?
Oh, those would be cool on there.
And but I'm like nervous to put them on because like I have 2.5s on there. I've got the Terravale L-Line 2.5s. I don't want to go narrower. And the Ultra Dynamicos are 2.2-ish, which seems a little narrow for the bike.
It would work. I've been trying out 2.2s on that one.
Oh.
I mean, I agree. I had 3.0s on mine when I first built it up, and it was fun, but it was a little much.
Yeah. I rode that bike when it was like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. They're fun.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like really novel at first, and then it wore off when I tried to take it across the bridge. I was like, okay.
It's too, yeah.
Yeah, but it's really fun on Sutro.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ultra Dynamico, I know they've been talking about doing it. I can't remember if they were going to do a 2.5 or 2.6, or maybe it was a 2.4.
That'd be amazing.
But they've been talking about it for a while, so maybe it's in the works.
Yeah, I mean, my other idea is just get a Thai Super something and put those 2.2s on there.
Oh yeah, that would be sick.
That would be sick.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because, like, I'm trying to consolidate all my bikes, and I've got so much redundancy and so many kind of, like, I mean, it's fun, but it's like I need to put my daughter through preschool. So I need to sell all my bikes and get, like 5 really heavy hitting bikes rather than 14 really good ones. But that's too many bikes.
What's staying? What are the heavy hitters?
Well, my NV Melee, which is my like gnarly carbon road bike, is just I just ride
You
it
love
so
that.
much. Like if I'm just like, oh, I have like an hour to myself, I'm gonna go ride it. I'm just not selling it, even though it's super expensive, and I could probably get a few G's for it. And then my Slug hardtail, the one that I just built, that one's staying. And then the Rivendell Roduno, that one's staying.
Is that the orange one?
It's like a mustard.
Oh, okay.
It's not orange. Well, it's kind of orange. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll probably hold on to my my Mash fixed gear.
Nice.
I just got that too. And then I've got that Omnium cargo bike that I use for work. So
nice.
I don't want to sell that. And then that's pretty much it. I mean, like I even sold my Clem L, which I thought I would never sell.
Wow.
But I discovered I was like packing it to send it to the guy who bought it, and I discovered a big dent in the chainstay.
Oh.
So I sent him a picture, and I was like, "Hey, like, didn't know this was here. Like, I don't know what this, how this happened. So I might I offered him to give him his money back. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But I mean, yeah. And then the PBJ, like the only reason I would pass it along is to get the Thai Super something, which I think would be the perfect like drop bar off-road bike, being light and snappy and fast, and also capable. Yeah.
Nice. That's good. That's a good lineup.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and then I got that Rock Lobster, which like,
Have you built it up yet?
no, there was an issue with the fork where it was like,
Oh, your brake thing.
it wasn't like it. I don't even know how to describe the issue, but it was like, I think the fork crown was designed for like candy posts to be like it wasn't. It's not a recessed nut. It's like side pull. It's not designed around that, so it just like didn't work. So I sent it back to him to like ostensibly like drill it out in the right. Or he said countersink, which I don't really know what that means, to be honest.
Oh, probably to counterbore it,
Counterbore,
which is to drill that little recess
Yeah.
situation there.
right? So once that happens, I'll probably get the fork back like tomorrow, and then I'll build it. But yeah, it's gonna get Ultegra R8000, so like rim brake Ultegra. I have some like ancient head Ardennes wheels, and then putting the Ultra Dynamicos that you gave me on there,
Nice.
and then Thompson Envy bars.
Nice.
Pretty classic build.
Sounds great.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, am I really going to ride that more than my Envy, which is just like the most easy bike to pedal in the world? Like I just average 18 miles an hour, like
Crazy.
if I want to, pretty easy. I don't know. It's a constant back and forth, as you might know.
No. No, I don't know. I haven't. My bike collection's it's been pretty stable
Yeah.
for the last few years.
But you're constantly like building up the new sample and riding that around.
Yeah, I guess that's been the change. Is that like now I have 2 super somethings. I have the Taiwan and I have the version 2.0 sample, and it's like I don't need both those, and they both have kind of baller builds on them.
Right. But I mean, being the owner of the company that makes them, you might as well.
And I gotta test them.
Yeah.
With the nicest parts.
Yeah.
But other than that, I
don't have that many.
only have 1 PBJ. Oh, I guess I have 3 super somethings because it's my commuter's a super something.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Sheesh. And then I have.
Do you even have the tall tail of your own?
Oh yeah, I have a tall tail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually really like that bike too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, I have like 4 mountain bikes right now, so there's no way in hell I'm gonna get one anytime soon. But I want one anyway.
They're super fun.
But yeah, just kind of like it seems kind of more like a trail oriented.
It's a trail bike.
Trail bike, yeah. What's the fork on those? Is it like 140, 150?
Yeah, it's like 140.
140?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never ridden a hardtail with that much travel.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it to be super fun. I mean, that geometry is kind of like every time I would buy a full suspension bike, it would start creaking, and I'd be like, okay, hardtail. And I'd build a new hardtail that seemed like as capable as the squishy bikes I was riding.
Yeah.
And they're fun. They're fun. They're capable.
Have you ridden that on anything gnarly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So much gnarly stuff.
Tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I've been MTB pilled.
Yeah.
And I'm considering getting Jim from Outer Shells, Santa Cruz Mega Tower.
Oh, really?
From him.
Selling that?
Yeah, it's like 170, 180 travel bike,
it's
like
humongous.
insane. But he's offering it for a really good deal, and I'm just
I thought you were getting rid of all the bikes.
well, yeah,
I'm just
I'm
kidding.
getting rid. But every time I get rid of 5 or 6 bikes, I need to get one
That
just
makes
to
sense,
make
yeah.
me feel better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like the way I'm thinking about it is like if I get rid of like 6 or 7 bikes, then I can get the Thai Soup or something and the Enduro bike.
That sounds like a good deal.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like part of it's watching Teddy Hayden and
Yeah.
his videos and be like, oh, I want to ride some like irresponsible shit like that. And that's why I asked you, have you ridden anything like that with the tall tail?
Oh,
Because sometimes I'm like, oh, maybe like screw full suspension. I'll just like get one of those too. And
yeah. I mean, the hardtail thing's funny because I feel like there's like this attitude in the mountain bike world where a hardtail is like because you can't afford a full suspension
Oh.
or something.
that's stupid.
But yeah, it's not. It's just a different riding experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I had $1 for every time I'm like on top of something and someone's like, "Oh, you're gonna ride that on a hardtail,"
Oh, yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I'll ride it faster than you too."
Yeah.
And it's just a different thing. But every time I get a full suspension, I get a bunch of flats because I just jump off stuff and land on rocks. You don't have
Interesting.
to do any planning. You just like point it wherever you want and you're fine.
Yeah.
They're so fun.
You don't crash either because it just soaks up
You're
everything.
just boing out of there.
Just boing out.
Yeah.
You bounce off. You land. You roll away.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they're different things. And so I think full suspension bikes are really, really fun too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I go through, usually it's like a 3-year thing where I'm like 3 years on the hardtail and I'm like, okay, I'm getting another full suspension bike.
Yeah.
And then I ride that for a summer and then it starts creaking
Uh-huh.
or I like want to do a really big ride and then I get my hardtail out and I remember that hardtails are super fun.
Yeah.
And then I go back for a while.
Have you ever built a full suspension?
Yeah, I built like 3 or 4. I think I built 4 over the years.
Is that what you would like when you ride full suspension? Is that what you ride?
The last one I had was a salsa, like blackthorn or something.
Yeah. Was that a carbon one?
No, it was aluminum.
Aluminum.
I was about to build. Most of the ones I built are single pivot,
Uh-huh.
like Starling's doing that one now that everyone's all likes a lot.
Is it I don't know.
But yeah, just one pivot. Super easy to make
Yeah.
those. That was actually like the 4th bike I built. I think was a single pivot. It's so funny. I found the pictures the other day. It's like so short wheelbase, so steep.
Uh-huh.
I had to angle so steep. But I had so much fun on that bike. And anyway, yeah, this also I was about to build the titanium, like fancy 4-bar. I don't remember what the suspension design was. And then I got all the stuff quoted to machine the parts, and it was like $1,500. And the salsa frame with the shock was $1,400. So I was
Right.
like, I'm just gonna do that.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
that bike was fun. It was the first time I'd ridden anyone else's bike in a while. And also, yeah, the geometry on it was so close to what I was gonna make.
Interesting.
I really liked that bike actually. It was 160 front one. No, it was 150 front 140. 140.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like I know a lot about bikes, and then I'm in this suspension world, and I'm like, I don't know anything about
Suspension
these
is
things.
a whole thing.
I don't even know what single pivot means. Like, I mean, I can maybe picture it. I don't know, but yeah, and the different types of designs, and there's different swing arms, and there's different, I don't know, pulleys and stuff. It's like a whole new world.
You can get deep.
You can get deep, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a mountain. Yeah, I don't mountain bike as much here in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We should go to. Have you been to like? So I'm gonna butcher this because I always say it wrong. Soquel.
Oh, like in Aptos.
Yes. Yeah.
Which I always say wrong. I always say Aptos. Aptos.
Yeah. It's like,
Demo Forest.
Yeah, Demo Forest. Yeah.
I rode there. I haven't ridden there in a long time before I lived here, but I'd love to go down there. Yeah.
That'd be fun. I rode that on like a hardtail. Carbon hardtail was sick.
Nice.
But having full suspension would be better.
No, not better, just different.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. And then, have you ridden Tamarancho?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's fun. But that's kind of doable on like a cross country design.
Yeah, that one's fun.
Yeah.
Or what was I riding? Hobo.
I've not done Hobo.
Oh, we should go out there. I might go this week.
Okay.
To ride with Brian.
Yeah.
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 We can go in his hot tub after maybe.
Oh, yeah, that sounds awesome.
Oh no, I just told everyone I guess.
Well, we didn't say Brian's last name, so no one can look him up.
Yeah, secret.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of people named Brian in Marin.
Yeah, mountain biking is fun.
Oh yeah, I'm addicted to it.
Same, ruined my life.
Yeah. Sorry. Let's just take a quick break. Hold on.
Sounds good.
All right, we're back. Yeah, I was just going to ask you about the new Super Somethings that are coming out. Like, you got the sample in, and it's a little different from the original one.
Yeah.
And I guess just as like a background, the Super Something is your first production bike that was not like, custom. It's custom designed by you, but it's not a custom frame.
Well, so I did some. It was the first production. First that I made. Ready to order. Mm-hmm. I had some non-custom options that I would make for a year, just for a couple of years.
Oh, that's right. And was the PBJ one of those?
The PBJ was one.
Because I remember Steve had one of those a while ago.
Yeah, Steve Keys had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one. The first one was called the Sweet Spot, which it turns out is trademarked. So that's really, the Tall Tail is the exact same thing. I changed the name for legal reasons.
It's a trail hardtail.
Yeah.
With a longer fork.
Yeah.
I remember that bike too.
Yeah, so I made those. Maybe it was 3 years. I don't times.
A few years ago.
Yeah, so I had the Sweet Spot, which was hardtail, trail bike, PBJ, touring mountain, rigid mountain bike, and then I launched the Super Something in I started working on it in 2018, but I don't think it happened until like 2020.
Right.
Is when the first ones showed up, and so that was my first go working with Taiwan.
Right.
And doing more than we'll just call it that. It was my first batch.
Okay.
And so lots of lessons learned, and I totally wasn't sure if it was going to stick around.
You mean if the idea of doing Taiwan frames was going to stick around?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty likely that it was going to be a one-time thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But the frames sold out in like a week.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. Which was like, it was 250 frames was the first batch.
Wow.
So that was catching the tail end of COVID.
Right.
Blow up.
The bike boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was lucky to have that. And my knee-jerk reaction was just like, let's order another batch.
Right.
So I did that. And that batch is pretty much gone. There's lots of 52s, if anyone's a 52.
I was going to get one for my wife, but I don't know. We can't be spending money, I guess.
Yeah.
She doesn't want money spent that way.
Yeah.
So.
Sizing curve is kind of tricky to nail.
Yeah.
But there's like maybe one of every size except for so many 52s, which are for sale. So this is pretty much still the same version. And then I've been working on some refinements. A lot of it has to do with, it's been cool. I still get to talk to lots of customers with sizing. It's pretty much most of my emails is like, hey, I'm 5'9". This is what I'm on now. Like, what size should I get?
Right.
And so just based on the hundreds of people I've talked to, just nudging some sizing around a little bit.
Yeah.
But I really love how they ride. And it seems like everyone who's gotten one loves how they ride.
Yeah.
So the geometry is going to stay the same. Also with what we were talking about earlier about pushing the factories a little more, they're a lot lighter. I haven't measured or weighed one yet, but I think they're going to be like at least a pound, maybe 2 pounds lighter, like way lighter
For the frame.
and fork, frame set. Yeah. The forks dropped a lot.
That's a liability thing for the factory.
It's just that what I was saying earlier, where like if you wanted, you could send them a spreadsheet, like a list of like, here's head tube angle, top tube length, like that's and they'll make you a batch of 200 frames. And I mean, of course, they'll send you a drawing before and say, like, or I guess maybe that's the more better way to tell it, is if you sent them like, I want a frame with this axle to crown on the fork, and I want this long of a head tube and this long top tube and these angles, they'll send you a drawing and they say, okay, here you go. And even if what I did was sent them for the first batch was some stuff was 3D, but like the top tube and my seat stays and stuff that I had formed was 3D. But some of the stuff was kind of like, they're like, oh, we normally do chain stays like this. And I was like, okay, you guys have done a lot of production frames. I'll take your word for some of that.
Right.
But this time I spec'd everything like way detailed.
Wow. So like, for example, is the chain stay going to be round on those, or is it going to still be the?
Yeah, I'm doing a yoke.
Okay.
Round chain stays. Yeah, the chain stays are cool. They're gonna probably be a little flexier.
Okay.
Which I like. I'm into flexi bikes.
Yeah. For
more comfort, more traction. I like that. I like those two things.
Yeah.
When I'm riding.
For sure.
Yeah, and the yoke is nice. We dimpled the chain stays, which is, it's fine, but the yoke's just a little more elegant, I think.
Yeah.
And they'll clear big tire now. I have a big 2.2 in there now, but it clears easily.
2.4, maybe?
I think it'll clear 2.3. I want to say 2.3. It'll probably clear most 2.3s.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of hard to say depending on rim stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Then also I'm going fixed dropout is kind of a big thing.
Yeah. So no sliding, no rocker.
No rocker, because the PBJ is kind of absorbing the weirdo stuff. So
right.
Fixed UDH dropout, so you can run transmission stuff, and it's flat mount, not ISO. Same with the fork. The fork is now flat mount.
Okay.
Because it just turns out
everything comes in flat mount.
Everything's just flat mount, and it makes it easier to build up.
Yeah.
I could hold out, but then you're like leaving customers to where they have to like piece together brake stuff, and that kind of defeats the purpose of. I still think ISO is easier to work on, but it defeats the purpose when you have to like buy some weirdo build kit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, the Stooge Rambler that I have, the guy's like, yeah, like for a bike like this, you need post mount. Like, and I know that it's a drop bar bike, so everyone's gonna want to run GRX on it, but you're gonna have to like figure out the brakes are gonna be a little different. Yeah. And so it's like for that bike's maybe a little bit weirder, so it kind of makes sense. But for kind of something that's just like more of a normal gravel bike without like a kind of it's not a mountain bike. Yeah. Flat mount I think makes sense. And it's probably what people expect. Yeah. It also looks clean. It looks clean. It's also gotten so much better. When a lot of my opinions on flat mount were from when it first came out. And I know like Cerama and Shimano both increased the pad spacing. It's way easier to set up. Also, yeah, I put the new red. That stuff's pretty incredible. It's so nice. Yeah. And it was so easy to set up. I know it's like the highest end stuff, but yeah, I'm really impressed with it. Right? Yeah. It was so easy to set up. Hey, I'm like a full SRAM guy. Like I like SRAM the best. Oh, nice. But yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say is with regard to the, like, I don't like sliding dropouts. I'm like kind of agnostic about rocker dropouts, but like something about sliding dropouts really bugs me. And so people are like, oh, I know it's better. You can do more stuff with it. You can make it a single speed or whatever. And I'm like, dude, there's other ways to make any bike a single speed, like any bike with threaded bottom bracket. Like Phil and Velo Orange make eccentric
Yeah.
bottom. I mean, that's not ideal, obviously. Like if you really wanted to be a single speed person, like maybe the sliding is better, but it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the best, strongest, least chance of creaking option is a fixed dropout.
Right.
But people want, I think something I'm finding is they always want that, like, what if, even especially with like tire clearance, it's like,
Interesting.
I don't want to I only want to run 48s, but what if I want to put a 2.4 on there someday?
Yeah. Right.
And those I think are the calculations people are making when they're buying a bike. And I think like on a touring bike, I think it's cool. Like I've definitely been there I was talking to someone who was on a ride on a bike tour, and their friend's derailleur broke off, but their derailleur was the only one compatible with that, and they had sliding dropouts, so they single speeded their own bike and gave their friend their derailleur. But I've had to make my bike a single speed before, and I used the sliding dropouts and like got myself home. So
I will say that for the PBJ, it's the best looking sliding dropout I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think they don't look too bad. I mean, they do cantilever off like that. It's not ideal, but the rockers, if you don't get the rockers torqued just right, they can slip.
Interesting.
And they're a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Which is a big part of the weight savings on the new Super something. They're just a lot of material there. So the slider's a little tucked in cleaner. But I've had worse. I got into bikes through single speeding, and I remember, and all my friends were like single speed mountain biker people, and there were a lot of eccentric bottom brackets at the time, and those were all so creaky. And I don't know if they're any better now.
Those weren't threaded. Those were like a big
aluminum chunk that was threaded. Yeah.
Oh, it is threaded.
Well, it had a BSA in it, but it was eccentric.
Yeah.
And then usually they're like 2 bolts on the bottom of the bottom bracket shell, and it was hard to adjust and creaky. And then the other thing I'm finding is like, you make all these accommodations for the single speeders, and then I don't know, I bet I see like 5% of the bikes that get built up, but I'm sure that not very many of them are single speeds.
Yeah, I think that's like my criticism of it too, is that it's like, like I really love the idea that I can single speed this, but it's like how many I've never seen. Like for example, the Black Mountain Cycles Monster Cross is like kind of a ubiquitous frame around here. And I got one a long time ago, and I was like, I really like this frame, but like, why does it have these kind of like old looking horizontal dropouts? And he's like, well, a lot of people want to single speed it. And I'm like, okay, I've like seen so many of these things built up, and none of them have been single speed. So it's like, it just doesn't, it seems like this like fantasy a little bit. Yeah,
I think so. And single speeders, I am one personally. But they complain. They're always like, can I single speed this? And you can put chain tensioner on there, or the pole. People have built up the tall tail with the Velo Orange eccentric BSA thing. Seems to work fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to make. It's really hard to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
But then also like sometimes, like you're saying with the stooge guy, like that was kind of my thing with like not putting a dropper port on the Super something. I'm like, this is a gravel bike. Gravel bikes don't need dropper.
Right.
It's like, how do you make the accommodations for making everyone happy, and also to force your opinions onto everyone else? Like, this is what a good bike is.
Yeah.
So trying to balance all that.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that like, in my opinion, there's just so many bikes out there that one can buy that like, if you don't put your personal touches on it, then it makes it less special. Like the reason why I buy a Sklar is like, oh my God, that's like Adam Sklar's take on like this genre of bike. Like that makes it special. Versus any other thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
totally. I've been thinking a lot about that, because I'm like, what is this bike company? And I think what it is like the bikes that are in my bike closet. Now that I live in the city, in my closet. What are the bikes in my closet? But it's really like, I think I can't. It doesn't feel good to make stuff that you're not like psyched on.
Right.
So there has to be some of that grumpy, like there's no dropper port on this bike, because dropper ports, I'll say it loud and clear, dropper posts on gravel bikes, dumb. So dumb. I hate it. I really don't like it.
quick aside, those have you seen those Envy dropper posts? It's like 40 millimeters of drop.
Yeah, why bother? You got one, right?
Well, I got one because it's like a $400 piece that they were
Oh,
blowing
man.
out for like $69.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, and I think a lot of people were like, I'll give this a shot for
Yeah.
$70. And yeah, it's pretty fucking dumb. Like I put it on
Yeah.
my bike and like click the dropper thing, and it just like moves up like an inch and a half. You're like, God, right? Did I really just spend like 2 hours installing this fucking thing?
It's like that's to me it's kind of the fun is like you're riding your bike where you're not supposed to be,
Right.
and that makes it fun. And it like I have 3 bikes with dropper posts, which I love to ride. Also, it adds a pound and a half to all those bikes.
Right.
It's so cool when I can ride my 20-pound Thai gravel bike
Yeah.
on like trails, and it feels super fast and sketchy and cool.
Yeah.
Like that's what's fun about it.
Right.
to
It's
me.
like if you really were on a ride where you were trying to ride all this crazy stuff in the best way possible, you'd just be on a different bike.
you just ride a mountain bike.
Yeah.
That's a thing that Carl Strong said to me once. He was like, people do anything to avoid riding a mountain bike. And I
That's
think about it a lot.
interesting.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting that you say that because, like, I feel like a lot of people don't get into mountain bikes. Maybe
People they're scared of them.
they're scared of them, or they're scared to like be associated with being
Yeah.
a mountain biker or something like that. Like no, like I'm more of like a commuter type who happens to ride trails or something.
Yeah.
Carl Strong, doesn't he do carbon stuff now? Pursuit.
hmm
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It is interesting. I heard a rumor they might not be continuing with that, but
Oh.
I haven't talked to Carl in a while, but he was a
Interesting.
mentor of mine and
Yeah.
Bozeman guy. Yeah.
Wow.
He's done some cool stuff.
Yeah. Would you ever do a carbon frame?
No, I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, that's like what I'm just trying to make like the bikes I know, and like,
Right.
and I would like to know a carbon frame, but I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
have time for that right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people doing carbon. You don't need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a different. I mean, maybe I could. I was kind of thinking about aluminum, but I don't know.
I like aluminum.
Yeah, aluminum's cool,
Yeah.
and you can offer a really affordable bike.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's easy to get. I go through phases of like thinking too big. Like I think this time last year, I was like, I'm gonna get a storefront. I'm gonna, I
Right.
don't know all these things. Like working on a lot of products, smaller products. Like I was working on a tire project. I was working on like 2 more stem, like a mountain bike stem. I was
Right.
working on, and then you kind of get hit with the reality of like, oh, I just have to answer these emails and like ship
Yeah.
out these bikes.
Yeah.
There's
for
not
sure.
But they're
But you are doing a tire, right?
eventually,
Can we talk about that?
sure.
How's that going?
It's so far out. When I went to Taiwan, we went to a tire factory, Innova,
Mm-hmm.
who makes a lot of people's tires.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool to get some insight into how that works.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to do. I mean, really, my vision right now is to have all these 3 models and kind of have a little suite of parts around them. So the
Mhm.
PBJ has its bar, the Super Something has a stem and its seat post,
Mm-hmm.
and a handlebar
Right.
eventually
Mm-hmm.
with Nito. But yeah, the guitar would be
PBJ
fun.
has the handlebar.
hmm
Yeah.
So tires are fun. They're the only part of the bike that touches the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And your foot.
Occasionally your feet. Yeah.
And your head.
Sometimes your friends if you're not careful.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it's interesting you have these little like 3D printed like tire tread samples that they gave you.
Oh, I made
Or
those.
you made those. Wow.
Yeah. So I guess I could talk a bit about that. So
Yeah.
you buy a tire is made out of fabric, out of cotton,
Mm-hmm.
and then rubber are the 2 things that it's made of. Sometimes wire, if it's wire bead,
Right.
or Kevlar bead for a folding tire. But basically, like they lay out the fabric on this big round form thing by
Mhm.
hand. It's cool. And then they wrap it in a piece of rubber and stick in the mold. The mold blows up inside and pushes it against, I think it's steel. I can't remember if it's steel or aluminum, but
Mm.
against the form that like glues it all together and puts the tread in there.
Mhm.
So it's, as you can imagine, a big tire size mold, which
Right.
is expensive. And you get to choose you design the tread and they machine the mold. And if you want to change the tread even a tiny bit,
New mold.
whole new mold.
Yeah.
So and you're paying for it. You pay for each one.
Yeah.
So you just have to go for it, really. Or if you're a company my size, you just have to go for it. If you're a bigger company, you could afford to
Do a few.
do samples and test them. But so I was just printing little sections of tread just to see what it's like. But that's hopefully in the next year. I don't really imagine having them available this year, but I think this year we'll be there. I get to hit go on that project.
Yeah. Interesting. What about a crank?
I've looked into cranks. I have some fun ideas for cranks. Lots of fun ideas on cranks.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's another project I started working on. I like the idea of, I don't know if I should give away all my secrets, but why not? I was thinking about a stainless crank, kind of like a welded BMX style crank.
Yeah.
But probably with like the SRAM spline situation.
Like the 8-bolt?
3-bolt?
Oh, the 3-bolt.
Probably 3-bolt.
Okay.
8-bolt would be cool too, though. I mean, I hadn't really...
8-bolt is like newer.
The new standard.
Yeah.
I was going to do chain rings with Aaron Pannone of Arn.
Yeah.
And I know he does the 3-bolt pattern. So yeah, we had chatted about doing like some kind of collab where he would do the chain rings and I would do the cranks.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, I'd like to pick that back up to steel cranks. But then you start looking at the price and you're like, should we just do titanium? And then I think stainless would be cool. Kind of, or even chromoly would be cool. But then you'd have to paint them.
Right.
And paint wears down and cranks get worn.
Right.
So I think stainless would be cool for that reason.
Yeah.
Do you have ideas for a crank?
Well, you know that company Cyber Cycles? I think they're in Denmark. They do.
Because those came out right after I was in Taiwan and I was looking at all these crank factories at Taipei.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's my idea.
Yeah. It's basically.
But there's a square taper, right?
They have both.
Oh, they do?
They've got a spindle.
Okay.
Outboard bearing version. But I just think it's cool. It looks simple, but those are chromoly welded. Yeah, it looks like a BMX crank, but then it has a SRAM mounting pattern on it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to do.
Yeah. But there's the stainless thing would be different for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so hard to find. I don't know why SRAM just decides to make the cranks as ugly as possible. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, it seems like every new round of products they come out with just gets uglier and uglier. I think that the SRAM Red, I've finally kind of come around to it just from looking at enough bikes with it. But when it first came out, like I like just without even thinking about it from the Calling in Sick Instagram was like commented on it. I was like, that shit's fucking ugly. Or something. And then I was like, ooh, I'm going to delete that comment. Nice. But yeah, it works good. It just looks kind of silly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I end up putting the White Industries cranks on all my bikes because I think they look nice.
For sure. Yeah. But it'd be cool to have another option. And something steel would be tight.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else was I working on? I was working on a headset. Those ended up needing refinement.
For sure.
Yeah. And I don't know. Well, yeah, I mean, so right now I do the tie seat posts are great.
Yeah, I have one. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like those. Those are popular. That's probably it. I don't really want to do any drivetrain stuff.
No. Yeah.
Or brake stuff. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, not right now. There's some good options out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, tires will be fun.
Yeah, for sure. So when you do an order of bikes, how many frames are you getting?
When I order bikes from Taiwan, the least that really makes sense to order is like at least 220 or so. So typically I'm ordering like I think I ordered 300 PBJs. I'm gonna the Super something 2.0 that's on the way. I think I have like 240 coming.
Okay.
Then with the tie stuff, I'm doing like 40 or 50 at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Then what's the other one? The Tall Tales are built at a different factory actually. Aura for those who care.
Yeah. The Aura stuff is cool.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little, it seems like Aura, Maxway are like coming into the zeitgeist. Is that what you call that?
I think so.
Yeah. That's a
The
fancy
canon.
word. Yeah, people are talking about them now like it matters, and I mean it does, but it also doesn't. I think it's more I think it confuses people more than it helps, and I'm finding that a little bit like people are like, oh, is that an Aura frame? I mean, it's cool. Like everyone wants to have a thing they can say that they know,
Right.
but they're both really good factories. But Aura does do some cool stuff. Like they're making actually the PBJ is made at Maxway, but the yolks are made
At Aura.
or at least heat treated at Aura, which is cool.
Yeah.
So a little collaboration there.
Right. So I think,
But they'll do a little bit smaller volume. So like the tall tales, I think I only ordered. Well, I'm gonna do a reorder of those this summer. Well, I might only order like 100.
okay.
Yeah.
And doesn't Aura they do the 3D printing stuff that Maxway doesn't do, or?
That's a good. I don't know if Maxway will work with 3D printed parts. Aura, they definitely build bikes with 3D printed parts. I don't use any 3D printed. I proudly don't use any 3D printed parts on my bike. Actually, that was the thing I was thinking about talking about the other day for my brand was that like because every single bike out there has it because it's cheaper to have stuff 3D. You don't have to pay for tooling if you print stuff.
And so the cast stuff, do you have to actually have a mold made?
Yes, the cast stuff. I have a mold made.
Okay.
Yeah, which is it's not like that expensive, but it is. It's an investment if you're a new brand and you're
investment cast.
Yeah, investment.
Is that why it's
investment
is that
casting?
why it's called that?
It's called that because you make a piece. I think it's because you make a wax. The mold that you pay for is to make wax parts,
right?
And they dip it in plaster, and then you like dip it like making a candle.
And the
like
hot metal goes in, melts the wax, and takes the form of the plaster.
Yeah, so you're investing
wax.
the wax. Yeah, exactly. Lost wax casting. But yeah, 3D printing versus casting. Casting is way stronger.
Oh, interesting.
More predictable.
Yeah.
They're both good.
Yeah.
Again, it's like that. There are these buzzwords like 3D printing, and it's like it's not any better or worse. It's just a new thing that sounds cool.
Right.
But yeah, Aura will do that. They do Thai, which is smaller volume as well, so that's a less of investment. And it's cool that their big advantage is that they make tubes. So Maxway shops all the tube making, which is you have more control with them over the tubing because it's made in house. So like with the Super something that's made at Maxway, I had an issue with the butted top tube getting consistent heat treatment on those because when you heat treat a tube to make it harder. So it's more difficult to form a tube has more hardness to it.
So you're doing the forming after the...
We're doing the forming after... At Maxway, we do the forming after. So we order the tubes from Founderland, which is where like pretty much any... This is all the hot frame making goss. Founderland makes like all the tubing for everyone pretty much. Pretty much any steel bike in Taiwan. There's a couple other options unless it's like Reynolds or Columbus.
Right.
That level of bike. And then Maxway wouldn't form a tube then send it to heat treat because that's too much back and forth. Whereas Aura
does it all.
They get to draw so they draw the tube, they butt it, and then they form it, then they heat treat it.
Wow.
So there's more control. Although sometimes tubes like get a little wonky when you heat treat them, so that's on them. They have to deal with that, but they figured it out.
Interesting.
Yeah, lots of control over the materials at Aura.
Interesting.
And that's another thing where I was talking to the Hardtail Party guy about that, where he was like his customers are really into Reynolds 853, and that doesn't really mean. And he's like, "Is it a similar product?" And it is, but it's nicer, and you have more control over it because the factory that makes the bike they're more invested in that than a tube manufacturer because
Interesting.
they're the ones who have to like cut it and work with it.
Is Hardtail Parties in the UK?
He's in. He just moved to Bentonville. I think he was in
Is that
Sedona before.
Arkansas?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Why are they into 853?
Because it's branded and there are lots of bike companies who have bragged about having 853 frames over the years. It was something I thought a lot about when I went to Taiwan first. It's like, do I need to make this Columbus because
Right.
people will recognize it
Recognition,
and
yeah.
they'll understand that it's high quality.
Mm-hmm.
Same reason. The only reason you would put any NV parts on your bike at all is so that people think it's nice because they've invested a lot in brand equity.
Right.
Yeah,
That's why I bought an NV frame.
I know. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are nice. I'm kidding. I'm joking. These are jokes, kind of.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all the same stuff.
Yeah.
Reynolds, though, I've found as a frame builder that their materials are pretty inconsistent, and so I stopped working with them because I found the quality to be lower than
Columbus. Interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I get a little frustrated when I hear that hype because that's the thing I know too. Like you really understand a lot about tubing by like cutting it. That's
Right.
actually really the
Working
only
with it.
way to like you can tell when you go to cut a tube and it's
Mm-hmm.
softer or harder than it should be.
Interesting.
Like the machine makes a different noise
Wow.
and it's a pain to work with, or it's like way too easy to work with. And you're like,
Interesting.
I don't know if I should put this on there.
Wow.
So I have that firsthand experience.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's what I mean by like Aura being able to
Control all those variables.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like your batch of frames that tubing is all heat treated in the same batch,
Right.
or at least at the same time.
Right.
So it's more consistent.
Yeah.
So that's a big advantage. That's the really, really cool thing about Aura.
Interesting.
Otherwise, and then so only if you're doing that, but you could also get them to build you a stock tube frame,
Hmm.
if you wanted, if you don't ask for it.
Right. Because I know this is a sensitive subject, but what's your take? Like if a customer reaches out and they're like, hey, like what's the budding profile on this bike? Like, what do you say to them?
It's all double butted. I usually
Yeah.
tell them it's double butted, which,
But if someone's like, is it 747 or is it 858?
I would tell them
Yeah.
if they want to know. Yeah.
Okay. Because a lot of companies don't. They're like, that's
Oh.
proprietary.
I mean, I think that's silly. I think sometimes I get a little frustrated because I'm like, do you even know?
What that means.
I don't know. I don't want to. Maybe that's me. Maybe I should be. It's just it's like the same with the geometry thing. Like you can look at the budding profile on the top tube. I'd have to tell you. I just have to list out. Maybe I should keep a list of all the diameters and wall thicknesses for the whole frame.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at one, it doesn't really tell you the whole story.
Right. Well, I think like you said earlier, like people will learn one thing and then that's something they can say about
Yeah.
it to sound kind of knowledgeable. And that's one of the things that like with Jan Heine and a Bicycle Quarterly, he talks a lot about tube thickness and like having a lighter frame is better.
Uh-huh.
And so people got like hooked on that.
Mhm.
And then that's probably why that's where those questions come from.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, how does it all come together into one sort of complete package seems to be a more like interesting.
Yeah. Also,
Science.
I talked to all the other bike people.
Uh-huh.
Like we're pretty much all, like I talk to Matt who owns Crust all the time,
Yeah.
and we're like, "What are you using?" you know,
Yeah.
and then it's like they're pretty similar. Like all nice bikes they're pretty much the same. I don't know. People ask it in a way that's like they think. Maybe it's just hurting my feelings a little bit because it feels like accusatory. Like they're like, "You're not using the good stuff." And it's like, no, I'm really using like the lightest tubing I possibly can without thinking it's going to break.
Yeah, well, like sometimes I get the sense that someone's like shopping around like 3 or 4 different frames and they're asking all these questions until one of them gets closer to all the answers that they want, but they're not necessarily like thinking like, I don't know how to explain it, but like just like what bike sort of like sings to you the most.
Yeah.
And that's kind of more the way I think about it. It's like a bike really sings to me, and maybe it's like the ethos behind it. Sometimes I get wrapped up in like the copy that's on a website and reading about it, and it's more about like the like sort of like singular vision of the bike that's made by the person making it, and that's interesting to me. versus obsessing over all the little details, which is like the tubing profile
Yeah.
is one of those.
I think that's a good way to look at it. We all get to have our things we obsess over.
Yeah. But then like some brands I think have caught on to the trend and they like post that information.
Yeah. Also, some brands talk about it a lot in a way that demonstrates a lack of knowledge,
Interesting.
which I find pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like
at the
what
end of
would
the day,
they say that's not?
like there was some brand that posted a video that I watched the other day that was just like, it was the tubing manufacturer being like, yeah, they really thought of all the details. They told us what shapes and diameters to make. And then it was like a 3-minute video of them just saying, we thought of all the details over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know what brand you're talking about.
And they didn't say anything the whole time. And they didn't mention any of the, it's like, I don't know. I mean, but that's what marketing is. Maybe I should just do a better job of talking about it. And that's why I think it's silly, but, they said over and over how they did the thing that every bike company has ever done when they designed a bike. And they held it in this light like it's some special thing that no one else does.
Weird.
But everyone, I guess that's what I'm getting at though, is that like, I think generally the people designing all the bikes really care a lot about them and they're looking out for you. They're doing their best to make it the best they can.
Yeah.
No one's trying to make a bad bike.
Right. I think like Rivendell, for example, if you ask them about tubing thickness, they just be like, look, like we designed a bike that's for this purpose. It's the best bike you're going to get in, for this purpose. And like, you don't need to worry. Like we've got you. Like you don't need to worry about these silly details. That's why we are the bicycle designers.
Right.
You just go ride it. Forget about all that.
Totally. Yeah. I think that's like to your point of like, yeah, if the bike sings to you, if like you like the brand, the ethos, the person who made that is going to be the right person to design that bike for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And then if you happen to catch a little tidbit about, oh, this bike has light tubing, you're like, oh, that's cool.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's maybe why it rides XYZ way
Yeah.
or something. But yeah, don't get bogged down in it.
Yeah. They're all fun.
Yeah, they're all fun. Well, most of them.
Yeah, except for that one. Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, we're just about at an hour and 40 minutes, which is crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
Time flies. But I always like to say, like, we'll do it again. So, like,
Sounds
6
good.
months and a year from now, we'll just check in, do another podcast.
Sure, sounds great.
I haven't really done a second person on yet, so I've said it 10 times, but
Nice.
I haven't done it yet. But yeah, do you have any parting words, any last thoughts?
Thanks for hanging out.
Of course, yes. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Calling in Sick.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for rocking the hoodie too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You have an ad coming out in the new issue. Beautiful ad.
Oh yeah, drawn by my friend Nicholas.
Yeah.
It's announcing my move to San Francisco.
It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any shout outs?
Shout outs.
Well, I'll shout you out. Sklarbicycles.com, or is it
Skarbikes.com,
Skarbikes.com?
yeah.
Skarbikes.com. Check them out. I mean, I feel like most people listening already know who you are, have already been to your website, might even own a Sklar
really?
or two. But yeah, it doesn't hurt to shout you out.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'd shout out. We shouted out Outer Shell and
Yeah.
Chris and Jess, the new neighbors.
Yep.
And check out my YouTube. I guess I'm trying to work on that. So
Yeah. I love your videos.
Thanks.
Yeah. His videos are like they get in the weeds, I think, like about like how, like, I don't know, like how to, I don't know. Tell me something.
Oh yeah. I'm just trying to go more in depth on stuff
Yeah.
that is hard to do in an Instagram post or email or blog post.
Yeah. It's incredible.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And also fun little ride edits that are low stakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Wonderful. All right. I think we did it.
Okay.
Thanks, Adam.
Thanks for having me,
All right.
Adam.
Peace out.